My guest today is singer-songwriter Erick Baker. You know this face, you know this voice if you live in East Tennessee, and you just have quite the story to tell because your journey to success and stardom, it's a fascinating one. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I remember meeting you so long ago, and I remember the first time I heard you, and I told you this, the first time I heard you, I looked at my husband, and this had to be, like when you first started, like this had to be early on, I said, oh my gosh, he's good. And we both just had a moment because you were just strumming your guitar and you were phenomenal. But you didn't grow up playing the guitar or singing, right?
I did not. Let me first say you have wonderful taste in music.
Oh, and I do.
Yeah, I was late to the game. A lot of people start when they're like 5 years old, and I didn't buy a guitar until I was a sophomore in college and didn't actually learn how to play it until after I graduated college. So, and then, no voice lessons, nothing like that. It just kind of grew out of a love of music. I've always been really good at playing the radio. Is what I always said. But
my guess is you were trying to impress a girl. You were like, give me a guitar.
That might be part of it. Well, that might have been why I bought the guitar to begin with. It was like wall art, and then a girl might come into my room every blue moon and be like, oh, do you play that? And I'd be like, oh, no, I just want to focus on you. Let's not focus on the guitar. Tell me more about you.
But how did you get started? Because you just don't pick up and just be good.
So I graduated from UT, University of Tennessee, and that summer I had an internship with Friends of the Great Smoky Mountains, and that was it. So my degree's in public relations, and that summer I just started playing. I had a lot of free time. And I had parents with a lot of grace and patience in their heart. Because after they put me through school and got me that degree, then I said, I think I'm just gonna hang out and learn how to play guitar. And, through that summer, I got, better and better. There was a guy that lived up above me in my apartment complex, and every night we would kind of trade songs back and forth. And that started growing. A lot of college kids lived in that apartment, and every night we'd have a couple people come up and drink a few beers and listen to us play, and that grew into people saying, "Man, you guys should, play out at bars around town." And a few months later, after we had enough songs, we were in bars, getting paid to sing cover songs. And for years that's what I did down Cumberland Avenue and pretty much any seedy, smoky bar in Knoxville. I've been in the corner singing, singing Jimmy Buffett covers and whatnot. And that's, at that point it was just, again, probably trying to meet girls and have fun. It was kind of a means to an end. And because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but kind of with every strum on that guitar, I, was learning more and more about myself and more about my heart. And kind of the canvas of my life was getting more and more brushstrokes on it, coming clear that, man, this is more than just, me having fun.
Right.
There's something here. And, it just uncovered this passion for playing and kind of this hidden talent that I didn't know was there.
Were you writing songs in the beginning?
No, it wasn't until, let's say, I was 2 years later. So 2 years into playing cover songs at 23 is when I wrote my first song. And basically what I did, this is a hack for anybody who thinks they're not a songwriter. I just took one of my favorite songs at the time, took the chords to it, and just kind of tried to alter the melody a little bit and kind of wrote my own song to it, called Come Back Home.
Wow.
That was the first song, and basically it was Forever by Ben Harper. That was the song that I ripped off. So sorry, Ben Harper, if you're watching this. But yeah, and so then, that was just the first time. I'd never written poetry. As a kid, I guess I just bottled all this stuff, pushed it down as most people do, just kind of hide it in your pockets, your emotions and everything, dust it into the corner. And, then I wrote this love song for the girl that I was dating at the time, and kind of a crack in the dam, and then I've written, hundreds and hundreds of songs since then. So crazy thing. But there's been no moment, it's been this gradual climb.
Okay.
That was, 25 years ago. So it's just been this steady climb to right here, to literally to sitting in this seat right now. And there's not been really any moment where it's like, okay, well, that was fun,
Right.
So.
What was it like the first time you were on stage performing? In a dive bar somewhere?
Well, it was actually Calhoun's on the River. They had opened their new patio, and my friend that I was playing with, up above me every night in the apartment complex, Matt Brewster was his name. His cousin, sounds like a redneck story. His cousin was playing at Calhoun's on the River, and so we went down there and I sang "She Talks to Angels." Kind of the first time singing on a microphone, and he introduced me as the roadie, and I came up and sang "She Talks to Angels," and then pretty soon after that we were doing our own show there. So. Oh man. So yeah.
So, has your style of singing always been the same, or did it develop over time? How would you describe it for someone who has never heard you? Which,
it is,
shame on you.
Well, that's the question that for 25 years, that is the question I've been asked the most. What kind of music do you play? And it is still the question that is the hardest for me to answer. But it is a mix of folk, rock, and I say Americana soul. Yeah. So it's really just it's a mix of things. But it's heartfelt. It's definitely soulful. Not having had guitar lessons, not having had voice lessons, I'm strictly pulling from my heart and from my soul and singing from the tips of my toes, literally. And probably doing it all wrong. But pretty much I just close my eyes and sing as hard as, just put as much as I can into it, and that's, what it is. And I write, a lot of love songs and just songs about my life and songs about the stuff that I know, and it's universal truths that we can all agree on, and that we can all connect on. Which, before we started, I was talking about, hey, we're just with our little conversation, I was like, hey, we're connected now. That's what
talking
I'm trying
about family and
that's
kids.
Right.
And
exactly, that's right. And that's, I'm just singing about, a lot of the things, heartbreak as well,
everybody loves a heartbreak song. Everybody loves a good cry.
The joys and pains of life. The joys and pains of life. So
when did things start taking off? You're on the strip. You're performing all around town.
Yep. Fast forward a couple years from that first "She Talks to Angels" performance, and I was singing like 5 nights a week, and I had just recently gone back to get my graduate degree, my master's degree in English at UT, because I was like, ooh, I need to be doing something with my life other than hanging out.
The backup plan.
Exactly.
It's this master's.
The plan B, that's right. And, I'd been writing some songs, and I found myself in a writer's round at a place called the World Grotto. So anybody who's been around Knoxville, it's where Amelia is now. It was like a downstairs place. And it was me and 3 other songwriters. And in that performance, I sang, 3 or 4 of my songs, and after that performance, I had a guy come up to me named Ted Heinig, and he worked for AC Entertainment, and he asked me, he said, "What are you doing May 9th?" And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, "Do you want to open up for John Legend?" And yes.
Let me think about it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so, at that point, it was, I'm singing to just a handful of people who could really care less. And then I go to, open up for John Legend at the Tennessee Theater, sold out show. I say I went from 15 people to 1,500, really in just a few weeks. And still up until that point, music was still, it was more or less a hobby. I'd gone back to graduate school and, was trying to pretend like I was a grown-up.
Right.
But then I walked on that Tennessee theater stage and I sang 6 songs in 30 minutes, and it completely changed everything. And the way that I always put it is the guy that walked on that stage, it was not the same guy that walked off. Because when I walked off, I was like, there's something to these songs that I'm writing, my original songs, not the guy playing covers and bars, the guy that, the emotions that I'm writing about. And that was in May, and then in October of that same year, I recorded my first record. And basically, I borrowed money from my family. I spent I spent all the money that I had, and I was about to get married, and had all these things. But I was like, I want to say that I at least tried. And if I'm stuck with 1,000 copies of this record for the rest of my life, at least I can look at it and say, hey, you know what? I gave it a shot. And so I pulled together all that money, made my first record, released it in February of 2008, and really the rest, the rest has been history. It's just been that steady climb. And now, later this year, getting ready to release my 6th studio record. So yeah.
What was it like going on stage that first time to such a big audience?
Oh man, it was terrifying. But one of my favorite stories to tell, John Legend at that point was like just a shooting star. And when my wife and I were walking through the backstage area trying to find my dressing room, the first person I ran into was John Legend. And he kind of comes out of his dressing room. And he's like, "Oh, are you the opener? Hey, I'm John. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here," and just welcomed me. And made me feel right at home. And he's like, "Yeah, I think your dressing room's right down there." And so Mandy and I are walking down the hallway, and he had a group of friends in the dressing room with him. And my wife was dressed up, really nice, and she looked really great. And they kind of catcalled her a little bit, and were like, "Hey, you should be in here with us." Something along those lines. And we're halfway down the hallway, and I hear John Legend go back in his dressing room. And he goes, "Y'all need to shut up and show some respect." Okay. So we just kind of overhear him say that, and like, for whatever, I was like, John Legend's got my back.
Yeah.
And I just felt it was like this weight came off of me, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I do belong here, but then I still had to go out there and sing. And so I walk out on the stage, 1,500 people. There's this rumble of conversation like you're walking into the cafeteria, right?
Right.
If like the cafeteria of high school. And, you kind of walk out there, and I started singing. And literally halfway through the first song, I broke a string on my guitar. I always bring a backup or whatever, but I finished the song somewhat a cappella. And in that first song, it went from like the noisy cafeteria to really from that point on, just the crowd died down, and I could just feel that they were with me. It's not like they were against me, and it's not like I was singing at them. I was singing with them. And then I got my other guitar, played another 5 tunes. I didn't have a CD at the time.
You didn't have a table with merch.
I didn't. All I had was a piece of paper. I took a piece of paper, cut it into 4s, and I had my name on it and my MySpace page.
Yes!
And so I sat in the lobby after the show and just my wife and I handed out pieces of paper.
Wow.
And
that's a moment in history, my MySpace page. I like that.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So what was it like rising to stardom? Because you really took off after that.
Yeah. I'm from a small town.
West Tennessee?
West Tennessee. Okay. 2,000 people, 1 stoplight. And thankfully, that humble, never met a stranger, I feel like that those roots helped keep me in the ground and keep my head on straight and keep my head from getting too big. So really it just, what was it like? It again was a gradual thing, so I was able to be eased into it. I still remember, a month after I released that first record, I opened up for James Blunt, and I still had 1,000. At that point I probably had 900 copies of that first album, and I opened up for him in Asheville. And again, played like a half-hour set, but got a standing ovation, and then went out to the lobby, and I was signing some of my first autographs, and we sold like 300 copies of the CD in one night. It was, it was huge, long line. Even when he started singing his set, there was still a long line of people to just say hello to me. And so that was kind of like, whoa, this is crazy. And then we went to get something to eat after the show, and people were coming up. And but I mean, as far as like stardom or, I love it when people stop me at Walmart or at the mall or whatever, and at Costco.
Yes.
Mandy, my wife, she's always like, do you have your glossy 8x10 so you can sign them? For me, it just, because everyone comes up and says, I love your music, and usually tells me this incredible story of what my music is, the role it's played in their life, and how could you not love that, and but again, just that small town. I'm still in my heart that small town kid who's never met a stranger, and so stardom, or I don't know. I don't like to use that word, I guess. So
I love that attitude. Do you have a favorite song?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, not of other people, of yours.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Well,
it's about you.
Oh man, I always describe it. It's like, all right, you've got all these kids, right? And we're going to Disney World, but only one of the kids can go to Disney World. So
you can't choose.
It's hard. Yeah,
Okay.
Depending on, for me, I'm very emotional and very I have a lot of feels. So depending on my mood, songs come back around. So it can be depending on the day and the mood. It can be, but I have a song called "Stay a While" that is really, it's one of those cornerstone songs written after I knew the moment that I knew that I wanted to marry my wife. Written in a lightning strike. I have a song called "My Two Left Feet." That was the song that my wife and I danced to for our first dance, that really developed with our relationship. A lot of love songs would be my favorite ones. Those are like my desert island, tunes.
I'm listening to you say all this, like I wrote this song when I knew I fell in love with her, and I wrote this song for our first dance. Most men are just not that in touch with their feelings. Right. But to put pen to paper the way you do is...
Well, and it's not that they're not in touch with their feelings. Maybe they just, they have a block, right? From here to here to here, and some of the best compliments I get are when guys come up to me, and usually it goes a little something like this. My wife brought me to the show tonight, and I wasn't really that excited about it, but man, such and such song is speaking from my heart. Says exactly how I feel about her.
So you're a voice for some men.
Yeah, right. For people that can't find the words, I guess. So gets me, makes me emotional. Yeah.
I love
that.
So
it's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm trying to. I have to kind of. Usually, if I get emotional, I have to tell like a fart joke or something. But yeah, that's like the biggest honor, right? When someone says, before I heard this song, I didn't have the words to tell my wife I love her.
Let's talk about love.
Ooh.
Let's talk about love.
All right.
Because
that's a song title right there.
Yes. Let's talk about love.
Okay.
Because one of the monumental moments in your career is putting love first, and pausing what you love to do for the woman you love.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you make that decision? Because you had to make, that'll be in his next album. He'll credit me. But how did you make the decision? Because you paused for a while because your marriage needed to be put in the forefront.
Yes. You know, no matter what we do in life, if we're songwriters or teachers or salesmen and, you know, whatever it may be, balance. I mean, I think we're all trying to keep a balanced life, personal, career, faith, you know, I mean, just the things.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things. And there was a, you know, point in my career where things were, I mean, just hitting on all cylinders. And I was gone for, I mean, I was playing 200 shows a year, several years in a row. And then with travel dates, I was gone like 250 days. And we had a newborn and we're newly married. And so I always envisioned like the justice scales, right? And so with every choice that you make and, you know, every decision, you're kind of placing pebbles on either side of the justice scales. And I had taken a big old rock and put it on my career side, and just everything was out of balance. And you know, I'd kind of convinced myself that everything I was doing it for my family, you know, and you know, I was finally making a living off of music, and but I was gone, just completely gone. And even when I was home, I still wasn't there. And you know, my wife Mandy, she's like, "Hey, you know, I didn't get married to be married to a stranger, essentially, and you know, we kind of need to make some adjustments. This isn't working for me, you know, essentially." But still kind of like blinded by the stage lights, you know, in a way. It's like, but I'm doing this for you, and I just couldn't understand it. And so it just got to a point where Mandy actually put her wedding ring on our kitchen table, and was like, "Hey, you know, I won't be sorry for the choices that you made."
Ooh.
Which,
Ooh.
you know, I come in.
That hurt my feelings, and I'm not married to Mandy.
I come in from mowing the yard, right?
Right.
And I find this on the table, and she's not there. And it just was it was a huge awakening. And, you know, in that moment, I mean, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I still couldn't, I'm like, I didn't quite understand it. You know, looking back at it now, I'm like, you idiot, you know. I just had let things get out of balance in my life, and I just was not putting any pebbles into my personal life, because truly, I mean, not just my marriage was falling apart. I mean, friendships, and I'd kind of estranged myself from everyone in my personal life. But boy, my career was going great, you know. But I mean, for you know, choosing love and choosing my family, it's like, well, what's all this worth and all this hard work and everything if I'm coming home to an empty house? And I have nobody to celebrate it with and to share it with. And I literally have selfies from all around the world, Asia and the Middle East, and I mean, it's just me, you know. I mean, and so it's like, I don't want to have this family photo album of selfies where, you know, I've traveled the world. So you know, it quickly. You know, I will say, you know, in that moment, I was like, wait, what's going on? But I mean, quickly, the decision, I mean, it was a fork in the road, and you know, choosing my family is the decision I made. And, you know, I had booking and management, you know, people that were relying on me to make money. And when I went to them, you know, they're saying, okay, you've been working hard. I know you've been sacrificing the last few years, but next year we really need to ramp it up.
Oh.
Yeah, even more. So it's like, all right, well, they're not probably gonna
support this.
Yeah. And so I just kind of, you know, put my guitar in the closet for a long while, and then just focused just on fixing my family.
A lot of folks want to make that decision because you literally were living out your dream. Maybe not all the dreams at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's because I mean, I'd also dreamed of being a father and dreamed of being a husband,
right.
and yeah.
So you take a pause. How do you get, because you clearly are at it today.
Yeah.
So how did you pick things back up?
Well, a couple of, I guess, a year and a half kind of went by, and I was still playing and writing, but it's kind of like not really knowing what role music was going to play in my life. But it has, music, is something I do every single day. I sing and play and do something. It's just a part of who I am. And so that continued to show itself. And, after I had balanced the scales and kind of gotten my marriage back in order and healthy, it was kind of like, all right, well, what do I do now? And we just figured out how to make music as a family, essentially. And how, back to those decisions and those pebbles, well, some decisions can bring you towards your family, and then some decisions take you away. And you just have to balance those and figure out, because before I was making decisions that while it was moving my career forward, it was just moving me farther and farther away from my family. So we started working together, my wife and I.
So she kind of got in the business with you?
She did,
okay.
yeah. So instead of getting a new, doing the booking agents and the management and kind of the industry stuff, we just kind of mom and popped it, really. And I made a new record called Dear Amanda,
yes.
which was an ode to my wife, and basically that began this new almost a decade ago, just a new phase where we kind of did it ourselves, and in all of those years of saying yes, to 200 shows, gave us the ability to say no when it didn't make sense for our family. And we did, though. I had a Ford Explorer, and we loaded up as a family. Annabelle was 5 years old, and we toured the country. We all the way up into Canada and back, all the Texas, and truly we saw so much of the country, just touring around, playing house concerts and private events, and
wow.
And the Baker family band.
Yeah. Now, is your daughter musical?
She has musicality. I think I pushed too hard when she was young.
Oh, no.
She loves music. She has rhythm and musicality, but she has no, I think, being drug around the hundreds of shows.
Probably like, I'm good.
She's like, no, Dad, that's your thing. That's your thing. No, so she, I would say that she's musical. I would say, though, that, she doesn't have any interest in thus far. But I'm holding out hope, because I started super late. So I keep telling her, to have, that guitar, which is right behind me, it's has been such an outlet. It's been a cane on my side that I've leaned on. It's been, it's really meant a lot to me and done a lot for me, And so she'll find her way to music, and she already has in her own way, because she's a great dancer, and so yeah, she'll find her own way.
Do you like this life you've cultivated?
Oh, I love it. I'm not gonna pretend like it's all roses all the time, because it's, people hear, oh, you're a singer-songwriter and you tour around, and it's still a job, and it is still difficult, and there are some days when I'm like, maybe I should, maybe I need to do something else.
Time to use that master's degree. Time to use
that.
Yeah, right,
exactly. Where's that? I need a resume. I need a resume. A resume? Is that what
they're saying? CV now. You need a CV.
Yeah, right. But I am. I just recently had a conversation with an older friend of mine, and I was talking about being happy. That's with Annabelle. I just preach that all the time. Just do something that makes you happy. And he said, well, it's bigger than that, because do something that is purposeful, that gives you purpose, right? That's really what it's about. And so as I sit here right now, I wake up every day with purpose. When I think about when I think about, sorry.
Come on, big
Yeah,
emotions.
no.
Come on.
Yeah. When I think about the people that come up to me and say what the songs mean to them and how it speaks for them and how it connects to them, that gives me purpose. So I'm able to not every day wake up with a smile, but I definitely wake up with purpose in my heart and know that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and that I'm right here, right now, right where I'm supposed to be, right here talking to you. So to have that, even on the bad days, then I can lean on the good days. Days like today, I can lean on and remember. So yes, I love the life. And if it weren't for people listening and people supporting like you, I couldn't have this life. So thank you. Yeah.
We have to talk really quickly about your I feel like I should end it there, but
right.
I want you to play some music for me.
Here, let me. Yes. Okay. Let me. I'm verklempt. A little verklempt.
You almost got me too.
Yes. I like I said,
got me.
I'm super emotional.
But I love that's where your heart is, and that's where the music comes from.
Yeah, totally.
You won a Grammy?
Emmy.
Emmy.
Yes.
Tell me about your Emmy.
So I, part of that transition.
I just manifested that for him. He's gonna win a Grammy
Yeah,
one day.
there
You
you
see
go.
that?
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was a
that's,
manifestation.
I look at that mantle back there,
Yeah.
and we have a mantle in our
Yeah.
house, and I was like, all right, I'm leaving this for the Grammy. Well, it ended up being able to put an Emmy on it, which is still incredible. For PBS, for 5 years, I hosted a television show called Tennessee Uncharted. And so writing for that show is how I won the Emmy. So
That is so fascinating.
yeah. So I have the first letter of the EGOT.
There you go.
I'm on my way.
There you go.
Yeah, which is a wild thing, which is a huge honor as well. So
We also have to bring up, I understand you had a song and a little movie that was out that a few people were talking about.
Well, it wasn't in the movie,
Okay.
to clarify.
Okay.
So I wrote it with the author of the book, Colleen
Hoover.
Yeah, it's called She Dreams of Boston.
Okay.
And so back in 2018,
Okay.
she kind of had reached out of the blue, and at this point, I mean, still as an independent author, she still was really doing great, even 2017 and 18.
Oh, all my book clubs, that's all they talk. Like she's been hot forever.
Yeah. So we kind of became friends around that time, and it's actually right soon after. I guess it was probably 2000. It was earlier than that, because she had a nonprofit that she bought copies of Dear Amanda right after I had released it to go towards raising money for the nonprofit. But we just kind of became friends, and I guess 2017 is when I did reach out to her. And I was like, hey, you're a writer, I'm a writer, we should write a song together. And so she was like, I have this book called It Ends With Us that I would love to have a song written about. And so she sent me the book, and I read the book, and then started writing the song, based on the book, and we bounced ideas back and forth. And a friend of mine, Josh Schilling from Nashville, he helped write it too. And so yeah, when it came time for the movie, then she had sold the rights and was trying to get it in the movie, but then somebody named Taylor Swift. I don't know who she is.
An up-and-coming artist.
You're going to hear a lot about her probably in this upcoming year. But I wasn't able to get it in the movie, but she's been very gracious to promote me all along the way, and she's flown me out to Texas to play some a thing called Book Bonanza that again raises money for charitable organizations, and so it's been a great and I mean she's gone on to be like literally the biggest author in the in the world, I mean in the country for sure, and yeah, it's just one of those crazy things, but it didn't quite get in the movie, unfortunately.
Honestly, they're lost though.
I know,
I'm just saying, because
hey.
I listened to it.
Yeah,
So.
but I mean, it's still, I'm so proud of the song, and I've gotten, just thinking about those messages that people have written and talking about what the songs mean, the empowerment that it's given women and given people in abusive, difficult relationships is, I mean, that's what it's all about, is trying to, inspire people and provide understanding and that connection back to where we started.
There's that purpose again.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Eric, will you play something for me?
Yes.
Are we okay with that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm trying to think what, I feel like we talked a lot about the beginnings, and everything. So
can we go back a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you want to do Unbroken Promise?
Yes.
Would that be a good one?
Well, I mean,
I think that's the song I heard you sing. I really do.
So that song is yes, is the answer. That's a song I almost didn't record because my wife, it's a personal song, and I can just remember my wife saying, I just, what's my dad gonna think when she hears this song? Which she was like, so I don't know if I want you to record that one, but thankfully I did, because it's, that is, Unbroken Promise is the song that really, it's another one of those bumps in the road that really, because it was all over Sirius XM radio, and I have flown all over the country playing that one song at weddings, and so it has connected me to a lot of people and let me become a part of a lot of people's love stories. Just that one song that I almost didn't record, and thankfully I did, because it's my most popular one. So yeah, good call.
Okay, so up next,
yeah,
we're going to get to
Promise.
hear from Erick Baker right here in the studio.
All right. Baby, take off your coat, and I'll loosen my tie. You were far too beautiful for us to turn off the lights. And your December skin and the trail of our clothes. You can keep your socks on if your feet are cold. But I don't want to have to ask permission. Give me a chance. It won't be perfect, just an unbroken promise from an imperfect man. Your red wine tongue, my sudden loss of breath. You like the sound of my heartbeat. You lay your head on my chest. But I don't want to have to ask permission. Give me a chance. It won't be perfect, just an unbroken promise from an imperfect man. So draw the curtains, all the goodbyes are gone. A love found through love gone wrong. An unbroken promise from this broken man to love you the best that I can. cold. Oh, and I'll turn off the lights. 'Cause baby, I've made plans. Baby, I've made plans. Baby, I've made plans to stay the rest of my life.
Oh, Erick
Hey,
Baker.
yes, thank you so much. Thank you. I've so enjoyed